Hello, I'm April Van Dyke, and this is my Refuse to Lose story. In 2003, I had a daughter. Her name was Zoe Ann Bachman. She was born December 19th, 2003, 10 pounds, 6 ounces. She was a bouncing girl. We loved her to death. And in August of 2004, we found out that we were expecting a little boy. And in November of 2004, when Zoe was 11 months old, we got the diagnosis that she had Niemann-Pick disease. What that meant was she was missing an enzyme that helped filter things through her liver and spleen, and her liver and spleen were enlarged, and she, at 9 months old, at a year old, she looked like she was 9 months pregnant. Later that year, after some more testing was done, we found out that the disease had progressed more than what they had thought, and was progressing pretty quickly. And they told us that our only option would be to do a stem cell transplant to help slow down the progression. And we knew that the transplant would not cure her, and it would not fix what was already done, but it would slow down the progression, and she could possibly live a pretty comfortable life. That January, Zoe and I left a week before everyone else, and we went on to do some preliminary testing. And then January 27th, she had her first stem cell transplant. We waited several weeks, just over a month, I believe, and none of the cells were growing back, not even her own cells. So we were left with no option but to do a second transplant. And so on March the 27th, she received her second stem cell transplant. And this one actually worked. And by that, I mean she was producing new cells, and she was actually producing the enzyme that she was missing originally. On May 3rd of 2006, she was discharged from the hospital, from the transplant unit. But we had to go back on May the 4th, and she was readmitted, and her breathing, we could not get her oxygen levels consistent. And she spent several weeks back on the transplant unit, and Memorial Day weekend, she ended up in the PICU, in the ICU, and she was put on a ventilator. And she stayed there on the ventilator for 2 weeks, and then she developed a bacterial infection in her lungs, along with everything that had already been going on with her lungs because of the disease. The doctors felt that it had just progressed more than what they thought. And then on June the 9th, 2006, we made the decision to turn the machines off. And so we passed away about 9:40 that Friday morning in my arms, surrounded by her family, her pastor, and the nurses that helped take care of her for those 6 months. During the time that she was at Duke, her father and I legally separated. Nash and I were living with my parents. I eventually went back to work. Early the next year, in 2007, I met my current husband, Russell, and we had a quick romance, and we were married in August. In October of 2007, we found out that we were pregnant, and we were very excited. It was going to be his first child. Everything with the pregnancy was going great. We go in February for our ultrasound to find out what the gender of the child is. We did find out that it was a boy. We were told that he had a hole in his diaphragm. In other words, he had CDH, which is congenital diaphragmatic hernia. And what that means is, because of the hole in his diaphragm, the abdominal organs would move through the hole and into his chest. This would cause difficulty for his lungs to develop during the pregnancy. I, of course, was asking a lot of why questions, trying to figure out why this would happen to me again. Why would I have another sick child? We ended up delivering Seth at UNC Chapel Hill, He was born on June 25th, 2008. He was born that morning, and as soon as he was born in the delivery room, he was automatically put on a ventilator. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, he was put on an ECMO machine, which is a heart-lung bypass machine. We were told that due to the severity of the CDH, his heart had been moved to the right side, and his lungs were nothing but buds. They had really not developed at all. We were able to have 3 wonderful weeks with him, but on July 17th, his heart just stopped. After losing Seth, I had to, not that my faith wasn't already tested with Zoe, but it was truly tested with Seth. I had to fully rely on God. Psalms 143:7 says that God heals the brokenhearted and bounds up their wounds. And I truly believe that that is true. He has healed so many wounds that I have had over the years, and is continuing to heal my wounds. With Zoe, we had a motto that was endure, fight, and live. And for her, it said, I have endured more than most people have in a lifetime. I will fight with every breath in me, and I will live the life that I truly deserve. And in the end, that was the honest truth for her. And still today, I try to live that motto, but I've tweaked it for me in that I have endured a lot of trials, and I'll fight for what I believe, for my family and my beliefs, and I will live my life the way that God wants me to.
You hear the cry of the broken. You hear the cry of the broken.
I'm April Van Dyke, and I refuse to lose.
You answer the cry of the broken.